time to end all wars. And one of the people who has done so much to reach out to young people and help them recognize, yes, they have a choice. They can choose not to enlist. They can choose to avoid war, and they can listen to veterans. Veterans whose suicide rates continue to climb when they've been veterans of combat. Debra Sweet, thank you so much for all of your steady outreach through many years, actually many decades. Please welcome Debra Sweet.
Debra Sweet! Hey, Debra. Great.
What a good intro, because this is what I wanted to talk about.
Speak up.
I wanted to talk about what are the things we can take from this moment to get to the people, to change this situation very actively. And I have to go back to about 1958 when I was 7, and one of my little friends lived right next door to the Protestant church that my parents belonged to. And she would take me home for Shabbat and for Hanukkah. And the story is, one day I came home and asked my mother, why is her family so sad? Why are they so sad all the time, and they cry when I go over there? And my mother tuned in the story of Anne Frank, which was showing on TV. And she talked to me about it. And I had nightmares for many years after this. She sung a folk song at the time that got its way into my body. And I thought the folk song was about Anne Frank, and it wasn't. But she was trying to calm me. And she said, look, some of our family was German, but they're not the bad Germans. The bad Germans are in Europe. And this is never going to happen again. Fast forward, not even 10 years, and I'm in high school next to the University of Wisconsin, which was lit up in 1967 over the Dow protests, because Dow Chemical was developing napalm with the help of the University of Wisconsin to burn little children in Vietnam. And I got involved in that protest, and I met, guess what, in my Wisconsin hometown of Madison, a bunch of Jews, mostly from New York. And they were in the middle of the struggle, coming from Freedom Summer and diving in to stop the war in Vietnam. And they said, this is the time for never again. We refuse to let this happen again. And one night, somebody sat me down in the middle of an overnight vigil about Vietnam. And they said, look, Debbie, as I was in those days, you think the Democrats are the good ones. You think the Republicans are the problem, but look, this is LBJ's war right now. This was 67. It was before Nixon got elected. They said the Democrats and the Republicans are both going to do this. We need a revolution. And I started thinking about this. How do we get out from this system? And, you know, it wasn't that many years later when I met real revolutionaries, and I met Bob Avakian, and he said, this is not a democracy. This is not a democracy. This is capitalism, imperialism, and what the U.S. spreads around the world is not democracy, but capitalism, imperialism, and the structures that hold it up. And I have carried that with me. This is not going to be solved, obviously, by trying to elect Kamala, but I want to talk for a minute about some dangerous illusions that I've heard lately, and then I'm going to get to what we're finding out from high school and college students right now. I have heard within the anti-war movement in the last week some kind of craziness that maybe Trump is not all that bad, that Trump is mixed on war because he says he's for peace. I just want to take you back to 2017. This orange fascist dropped the largest bomb ever made on Afghanistan, nicknamed the mother of all bombs, 10,000 pounds. Does this sound like a peace candidate? In no way. And he has, allegedly, he wants to appoint Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense. Do you know about this guy? I mean, number one, he was the big cheerleader to free Eddie Gallagher, who was the Marine that executed a man in Afghanistan during the war, and he was being brought up on charges by the military. And it was Hegseth and Fox News that got Trump to officially drop the charges on a war criminal. This is only one of the things that this guy's responsible for. He was a big cheerleader for Trump in Charlottesville. You want to think about that? He worked in Guantanamo, and his platform right now is the expansion of Guantanamo.
Oh my God.
So I do not want to really interface with any legit anti-war person who says Trump might be hopeful here. This is a friggin' disaster, and I will say once again, as we always have to do, the Democrats are no damn better. They are not any better. Look at what Biden is doing. 70 billion more. Really threatening the whole world with this, and funding what's going on in Lebanon by Israel. This is the time when our voices need to be absolutely ever louder. Absolutely ever louder. This war will expand.
It will.
Whether it's a fascist Trump on top of what the Democrats have done, and this movement needs to be much broader, much more determined, and much younger, I will say, as a person in my 8th decade. So I do want to thank Kathy for the intro. We Are Not Your Soldiers takes recent veterans into schools, and in the last 10 days, I want to tell you, we have been at 2 community colleges in the New York City area.
Yay.
And things have really changed. Now, this is only 4 classes, but instead of just listening and looking at their phones, these young freshmen and freshman college students are really listening. They come in with questions.
And today you have
they
2
want to
more.
know.
2 more today.
We're doing them every day. It's called We Are Not Your Soldiers. And the questions they are asking are not just about what should I be worried about? How does it affect me? They're asking questions about where society is going to go. What are we telling the rest of the world? And these are really essential questions. And my friend Joe Urgo, who is a Vietnam veteran, who organized the first Winter Soldier investigation in 1971, said that the other day a young girl came up to him at the end and said that she is in ROTC. He's told me she could not even look at him. She said, I don't know what to do. He said, we have got resources for you. We'll talk you through this. There's a lot of options you have. She said, I feel like the whole thing is going to come down on me, and I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this, because these kids know in a certain way that their lives don't matter. They're watching the kids in Gaza be slaughtered, the babies in Gaza be slaughtered as if their lives don't matter. How can we as a society stand by? I'm not talking to the people right around me here at this moment. These are very dedicated activists working for peace. But how can we as a society allow this anymore, to put the nuclear codes in the hands of an orange-haired maniac? Are you kidding me? We cannot allow these imperialists to carry on this way anymore. This is what makes me a revolutionary. We need a society that cares about the people. I'm a follower of Bob Avakian. Yes, I am. He's putting it out to the world. The world does not have to live like this, and we have a tremendous responsibility in this imperialist country at all kinds of levels to represent for human values and to stop the slaughters carried out in our name, but going on around the world. We're talking about Lebanon into Syria. We're talking about Iran. We're talking about a great, great deal of danger. This is what I wanted to talk about today and to say, yes, this election has changed things.
Debra, thank you.
It's seriously changed
Thank you,
things.
Debra.
But we have to carry on.
Okay, thank you.
And we have to go much further. Thank you all.
Thank you. World War I, there was a nationwide movement to say never again. People did not want to get involved in industrialized slaughter ever again. And so the merchants of death were being put before Senate commissions of investigation. And now you have a commission of investigation in Nick Mottern, who has organized the band killer drones, made that facsimile of a drone present in many, many places, and organized the Merchants of Death War Crimes Tribunal, and come in from Northampton. He's been fasting for how many months, Nick? Many. Thank you, Nick Mottern.
Thank you very much for that very undeserved welcome. When I was a kid, I loved to make model airplanes, and I can't get over it. And so when this replica of a Reaper drone, we made about 25 of them and shipped them around the country for protest. There's 2 even in Hawaii. The thing that I'd like to say, this Reaper drone is a really representation of the illegality of our government and the cowardice of our government. Right now, and you see there's no weapons on this drone. Right now, these drones with a 71-foot wingspan, 38 feet long body, they're flying over Gaza, they're flying over Lebanon, they're flying over Yemen. The United States is deeply involved with these wars. Genocide is the foreign policy of the United States government.
Yes, it is.
We have to understand that our government is a criminal government. Congress has always gotten it wrong about war. In this case, they're breaking laws that they passed to prevent genocide, and they're doing it in a way that says to us, it's all good because we're good people. We're Democrats. We're very genteel. But we are, in fact, if they would admit it, genteel war criminals. So the drone can fly over and then we can say, oh, well, it's just a drone flying over there. We don't have our troops over there. This is a situation where today some people may or may not get arrested. Whoever gets arrested for opposing these wars is upholding the law. There's no need to go to court with a lawyer to defend yourself. Just tell a judge, I'm defending the law. Dish it out. And I want to just say, to close, we have got the power. The only way we're going to get through these next 4, 8, whatever years is by action, 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 and staying in the streets, staying with each other and fighting. That's it. So, Who's got the power?
We have the power.
Thank you.
Famine bombs, billions flee, everywhere catastrophe. Got to scream, got to hide, pain imploding genocide. Rise up, fears release, seize the power that is peace. Rise up, fears release, seize the power of just peace. Thank you.
So, dear friends, Phil Berrigan, in one of the last demonstrations he attended at the Pentagon, said, "You are the answer. Don't get tired. You are the answer. Don't get tired." Now, Code Pink has certainly helped us understand that we ought not get tired, and we are the answer. Thank you, Code Pink. Thank you, Rob Jareski there on the corner.
Thank you, Rob.
He can't hear me. Thank you, Rob Jareski there on the corner. And Nadine. I'm very happy. Nadia.